You are now tuning in to Lex and RDDC broadcast station, serving up on the double doses for us all.
Welcome back to the Real Double Dose channel. This is your host, Lex, coming to you straight from the heart where the talk is real and the vibe is always live. Thank you for tuning back on here today with us, because here, serving us life of everyday life is what RDDC is all about. For any show requests, feedback, or anything under the sun that you would like to broadcast out to us again, get a hold of us at Real Double Dose channel at yandex.com. That's YANDEX.com, and as well as Real Double Dose channel at yandex.com. That's YANDEX.com, and you know the way what's going on. So at the blog spot, as we always mention in all of our episodes, you can go check out the About Me section, the links to our books and vacation travel giveaways. We know there's a scare right now, but it will be on and popping soon. So you might want to get on some free Puerto Vallarta, Jamaica trips, and again, just enjoy yourself and live life a little bit more since this whole episode and epidemic is happening. Also, you can definitely kind of get more of your gift cards. I know a lot of you have claimed them, and I want to say congratulations to all you who have, but we have a lot more coming for that as well. If you're not tuning in already, which we see that you are, you can also find us and our links at SoundCloud all the time and our realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com, but also TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, Spreaker.com, Blueberry.com, Spotify, as well as TuneIn. And then we also have our iHeart, iTunes, SoundCloud as well, Deezer, Stitcher, Google Cast, all that. So you know the name of the game. That's what we're here for. But without further ado, we have our wonderful guest expert, and it's an awesome person overall. Someone I wanted to initially kidnap, but I had to have her I had to have her on here first for us to be here and just have her ambience. That is Kathy Tuccaro. So Kathy Tuccaro's story of dreaming big can change your life. Now, inspires people to make the necessary changes in their own lives to improve their self-worth. She is passionate about everything she does, well, especially when it comes to personal growth, and believes that anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they truly desire to do so. All her efforts and focus is about encouraging, inspiring, and motivating others that, quote, change is possible. Yes, it is, if only they would believe in themselves. She is a woman of great passion, vision, and purpose, and it is this combination that has led her from the dark night of soul into the light of success. Oh, yeah, hashtag facts on that. So thank you for being on here with us, Ms. Kathy Tuccaro. How are you doing, my dear?
Hi, thank you so much. First of all, to have me on the show today. It's a real honor, and I'm really grateful to be here.
I'm happy to have you. I was about to go jump to the phone to get you. I'm happy to have you. Like, if we didn't pause before we got on here, I don't know if it would have stopped. My energy was like immediately sparked with yours. I was like, boom, there she is. I'm just happy. So, I mean, how is it going in your part of the world, or part of the country world?
Well, I came back from California. I was there on vacation for 3 weeks in Malibu, and I came back 4 days ago, and there's about 117 cases in Calgary, so they started to lock down. A lot of businesses have shut down, but
wow.
I work up in northern Alberta, and I'm considered an essential worker, so I'm flying back to work on April 1st.
Oh, April Fool's Day. So you should have a mojito.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? There's a joke on me.
Yeah. You could always have a little bit of a Mai Tai and just relax and be like, oh, you said April Fool's Day. I'm not a fool, so I'll come in on the 2nd.
Yeah. I ain't no fool.
Yeah, exactly. That is so ironic. It sounds like you have one heck of a deal. When I was sitting there looking at the stuff that Angela was putting on the blog, I wanted to teleport myself right there in the picture with you. And I'm like, man, this looks like it just would be like her life just looks like, Aladdin's genie carpet. Like you're just on the ride of a lifetime. Oh. It was so wonderful.
The picture on my book cover was the very first day I was on site, and I had never been. I mean, I was a nurse for 13 years. I never before this, right? And then I ended up homeless. But when I ended up the first day on site, when they took that picture, I honestly thought I was on another planet. I had no idea that these trucks this big, this equipment existed. And I'm looking around and I'm like, I'm looking up at this truck, and you can't see it on the picture, but I was actually crying because I'm looking up, I'm thinking, how in the world did I end up here?
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, I was drunk and homeless, and I lost everything I owned, and boom, I'm looking up at this thing thinking, I gotta learn how to drive this thing.
Yeah.
Like, holy mother. So, yeah.
So how is it? Like, is it so, it's like to the point where you drive a car, right? Obviously, this is epically different from a car, but do you feel like you could just manhandle it almost like a blindfolded now, or what is it? The feeling?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it becomes, like, every time I go away, because we work 10 days and we get 10 days off, and then we also get a month vacation, which I just took. So now when I go back to work and I happen to get on the truck, and it's like, whoa, you forget just how big, how mammoth these trucks are. People think that, when I say about my truck, I drive a big truck, they think it's the ones that are on the road, like the 18-wheeler, right? I'm like, no. I drive a house.
Yes, you do. And let me just put this out there. Hashtag RDC family and all those who are new tuning in, because we know you come in from all over the world. Thank you for doing that. But at the same time, you have to go over to the blocks. But I'm going to have to just post this. I'm going to have to make sure Angela posts this. I know we kind of do the dead feed on Instagram and our Real Double Dose Facebook, but we're so live and lit on here. I guess it kind of just, it's like a touching ground. But when she says, and Kathy's telling the truth, this is not some semi-truck, okay? This is not some double, wide, whatever it is, UK bus. This is epically, like, you feel like I had told her on Avatar, the movie, like those big, huge trucks that were coming through to, like, knock over those trees and their thing in the Avatar movie. You don't even understand. Like, I can only imagine standing by it. Oh, and you're driving them. Whoa.
Okay, it's 2.5 stories high. When the box is up, it's 5 stories high.
Oh my God!
This truck weighs 1 million pounds of metal. It carries 400 tons of dirt. And when it's fully loaded, like these trucks go 50 miles an hour fully loaded.
Oh
like
my
it's unbelievable. The tires are 14 feet high.
Yeah.
I mean, as you can see on my cover of my book, I'm 5'7", and I don't even come to half of the tire.
Oh, so we're the same height then. Okay, so we're the same height. Yeah. Oh my God, you look like a little ant standing. It's so little. I mean, in comparison, obviously you can see your face and the whole imagery, but I was like, oh my gosh, you're so itsy compared to this huge thing. I mean, man, that would definitely be a bunker we need around these times. Like, if you want to pick me up on the way, let me know. I got a stockpile I'll bring, okay? I'm like, I'm not even kidding. Oh my God. So, how did this journey happen? You said, okay, so we dabbled in it. I mean, but at the same time, from your nursing journey to your homeless story, can you give us a kind of a picture about how this whole journey started to where you are now?
Yeah. Okay. I was, like I said, I was a nurse for 13 years, and I was really, really good at taking care of other people, but I couldn't figure out how to take care of myself. And I was wearing a mask, in terms of, taking care. It was easy for me to take care of, say, the cancer patients or any type of wound and broken bones and this and that. It was very easy for me. But actually, because it took me out of my own pain. And how this happened was that I had literally a lifetime of repressed trauma and abuse. And I'm talking about child molestation, sexual abuse. I've been raped. I've been gang raped. I've been beaten. I've been stomped on. I mean, you name it. I mean, I've been strangled 3 times to the point of losing consciousness. I mean, I lived with a shovel on my porch as a reminder of what I was going to be buried with. But all this stuff, nobody at work knew because I was so good at showing up for work and, as soon as I put on my uniform, it's like I'm a different person and I'm taking care of, I'm working 16-hour shifts. And anyway, that could only last for so long. And I showed up to work one day. It was a night shift, and I had 10 people to take care of, and I couldn't read my sheet. I couldn't see the patient list. I couldn't see the words. Like, my mind just shut down. Oh, wow. And I knew that I couldn't continue on pretending that I was okay. And by this time, I was 40 years old. Wow. I had just repressed and pretended that, this didn't happen, or it's fine, I'm tough. How many people think that, I'm a survivor, whatever happens in the past stays in the past, or it was a long time ago, I was a child, who cares, Yeah. So I did that until the day I couldn't do it anymore. And I ended up losing everything I owned. I ended up losing my career. I'd become an alcoholic. I tried getting help, and I went to treatment, but I had a lot of repressed layers I mean, layer upon layer upon layer. And so, kind of to make a long story short,
I could only imagine.
Even though I went to treatment, this women's program that they have here, where you actually live there for a year, and you unlearn everything that has been brainwashed into you since childhood. You know, things like you're stupid, you're useless, you're ugly, you're fat, you're, all these things that I believed.
Yeah.
And then I had to unlearn all that, and then relearn who Kathy really was underneath all the lies. And then I had to accept that. Well, it's easier said than done. I mean, it takes a lot of, number one, change takes time. And number two, learning to actually believe that was really difficult for me. And so when I was 42, I ended up relapsing, even though I had spent, almost a year in that women's center. And I did deal with all the sexual abuse and a lot of the trauma, but there was still more things to look at. Yeah. Such as the guilt as a mother, things that I've done to my daughter when I was drunk, or sending her to her dad just for safety. Anyway, there's a lot, right? Yeah. So at 42, I ended up going back to nursing, thinking I was okay, but I wasn't. I was still drinking. I got fired. I ended up literally on the street, drunk and homeless. My daughter wouldn't talk to me. She was 16. And this man named Toothless Joe, I swear by it, he is my guardian angel. On the 7th day of being homeless, he comes up to me and he slaps me on the back. I mean, he's drunk and happy. And he's okay with his situation, right? And that's fine. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But so he slaps me on the back and he goes, "This is the life. Live it. Love it." And when I call it a Godsmack, because when he did that, it's that cloud of depression that I've been carrying around for decades. Literally, it shattered. And it's like time slowed down. Wow. And I'm looking around at my very dismal surroundings, and I'm looking at him, and the words are sinking in what he said. And I'm like, "What did you just say?" Yeah. I said, "This is not my life." I said, "I don't care what you think is okay." And I even stomped my foot. I said, "This is not my life." Because I've always known that deep inside there's a greater purpose for Kathy than what I was living. And so when he said that, everything just clicked. And I made, although I had nothing, like literally the clothes on my back, I mean, I was even robbed. I had no identification. I mean, I had nothing. Wow. Anyway, all I had was my mind, and I made a decision that I was going to do whatever it takes to get away from that guy, right? Yeah. So I turned around, I went to the hospital, I detoxed, and I went back to that women's center, and I said, "I'm not leaving this place until I figure this out. Like, there's something in there that needs to be, that I haven't clicked yet." Well, 2 years later, I went back, and I did everything I needed to do, and I figured it out. And 2 years later, from Toothless Joe, literally was the day of the picture of my book, of the first day on site. Here I am standing looking at the truck thinking, "Oh my God, how did I end up here?" That's amazing. Thinking of Toothless Joe. Yeah. Right? I mean, the time between then and those two moments, between Toothless Joe and standing beside the truck, there was a series of steps that I had to take, and which I did. And I knew that one step would lead me to the other, and the next and the next. But there was a lot of obstacles on the way as well. But those obstacles, I didn't let them overwhelm me. I said, okay, one of these obstacles was bigger than a mountain, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to let this. I've come too far to stop. So, I made a decision. I committed to it, and then now I succeed. I succeeded. But it took a lot of work. I mean, it doesn't come easy, but what else did I have to lose, When desire to change my life, it overruled any fear and any insecurity that I had. Most people, as soon as they hit a limit and they become so overwhelmed with fear and doubt or insecurity, I can't do this, they stop. But that's the moment, the crucial moment where you need to push on and keep on. Yeah. And that's what I did. Absolutely. It's like that moment where it was the defiant, when I keep trying to see it, visualize in my head how I feel to get slapped on the back and that shattering feeling. And it's kind of like you looked at it like, hey, I could die down this route, or I could make the best out of the route that what I want for once. Like you were saying before, because you're so used to serving, and that's what I'm saying. Oh, well, I put it that way. When my sister, because she was a nurse for about a good 14 years, and then on 2018, she decided to take her life on my birthday, April 9th. So I was like, I thought about, internalizing that from, both of us going through a different kind of history of, child abuse to adult abuse. And, I tell people, if they even, when they look at
at me, some people say, oh, you remind me of a cute librarian. And some people say, I really see the Columbiana, queen pin behind you. And I'm like, you don't know what a person's story is when you see them. They would not even begin to understand the chapters of the layers like an onion going on underneath your lifestyle. Because from where you are now, I mean, that obviously when you look back at that, you're probably just like, whoa, like, but that's one heck of a route. Yeah, that's a long journey. A long journey. And I would say myself, I might not have known you physically back then, but spiritually, I'm proud of you. So I'm just saying, like, I mean, my spirit knew of you, okay? Our spirits knew each other. We just physically didn't catch up to each other yet. I'll put it that way for that one. So... So how long have you been there? I mean, at your place, I mean, for you working with these big, huge, wonderful machines and knowing, I mean, I'm jealous. I am a little jealous, but I'm just saying, I want to put that out there, facts. But how long have you been here at this place you've been working at now for your job?
I've been here for 7 years.
Wow.
And I gotta share something. When I knew I couldn't go back to nursing. I was 42. And, I mean, how do you change careers? How do you do that? It was very difficult because all I knew was nursing. I mean, I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. So I ended up going to a career planning workshop and where they do aptitude tests, personality tests to kind of guide you along. And on the third day, the woman hands me my sheet back and it says in big block letters, heavy equipment operator. I laughed so freaking hard. I just about fell off my seat because I thought it was the most ridiculous career change ever. Yeah. I give her back the sheet and I said, that's not mine. I said, I'm 42. I'm a woman. I don't even like equipment. I'm not mechanically inclined. And by the way, that's a man's job. Hello. I give her back the sheet. So she puts one hand on her hip, pulls her glasses down, and looks at me over her glasses, and pushes back the sheet, and she says, "If only you believe in yourself a little bit, Missy, you see the test is right."
Ooh, yeah.
So in Canada, we have a non-profit organization where it's called Women Building Futures, where they get women into the trade, and there's a lot of companies that go there, that they sponsor women, and I was very lucky because the day I walked in, I never heard of them, I didn't know, but this woman at the career planning, she sent me there. Anyway, the day I walked in, ExxonMobil, the biggest company in the world, they happened to be there, and they were sponsoring 16 women to take a 12-week heavy equipment operator course. I mean, that was $18,000 per woman, and they paid for 16 women. But there's 170 women that applied. Why would they pick me?
Yeah,
and do you know why they did? Is because my desire to change overruled everybody that was in that room.
Yes, it did.
I mean, I went above and beyond to make sure I got picked.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's been, And so it's been 7 years, but I got to tell you, it's just a job. It's a great job. I mean, I operate the biggest equipment in the world. I've now moved on to the grader, which is the size of a semi on the highway, 18-wheel flat deck trucks. That's the size of the grader. It's so mammoth.
Wow.
But the job, what it does for me, because I work 10 days, I get 10 days off, I get a month paid vacation. It gives me the time, and I travel the world now, and what I do is I do this for free. I go to women's shelters, I go to juvenile homes, I go to prisons, I go to schools. Doesn't matter where I am, I will find, and I talk about sexual abuse and having a voice and consent, kids. Like teenagers, what is consent?
Absolutely.
And kind of it gives a little bit of education on having that voice and not staying silent. And I do this for free because, number one, a lot of people, these places don't have money. And I already have a job. This isn't about that. This is about giving a message. If one person can change their life based on my story, on what I do, to me, that's priceless. And it's worth everything to me. So I usually go to, I travel the Caribbean islands, and I don't stay in posh resorts. I stay in, just a typical, I rent a little room for $30-$40, and what I do, that is where I give the help the most for free to those countries. And I bring school supplies, I bring toiletries, I mean, you name it, I do it, right?
Yeah.
And my whole wall in my house, in my office, is from these kids and gifts and little trinkets and letters of gratitude, and I call it my wall of love.
Yeah.
Just so, yeah.
I mean, so basically, it's your wall of being the most richest woman in the kingdom of the world. I mean, you think about that, like it's epic, and I love, and I'm gonna say this again and emphasize this. I absolutely am in love with the fact that you're in love with the fact that you can do that beyond what is going on with yourself. Because a lot of, I mean, and I'm going to put the shade out there to those who might be tuning in. I'm just saying, like, I had gotten some, as tell people, they typically know who Angela is when she deals with the emails and so forth. And in the past and in the present as well, we'll have some people who are just like, hey, we want to be on the show, but we need to know the numbers. We need to know this. And I told them, like, look, you're barking up the wrong tree. At the end of the day, it's okay to do a tour later on. It's okay to have a t-shirt or even something else serving the purpose. But people always ask the same question. And I'm like, if you cannot do what you do deep in your heart because it's something that you knew and know it's your purpose and in your path in life to help at least, even if it's like you said, one person completely change their life around, then really there's no point of evolvement. Like, that's how I feel. You're already stopping your growth because the world is based on, oh, well, hey, I got this prestigious, college degree and this perfect little job and this perfect little house. And inside, they're imperfect. They're bearing all the pain and all the havoc that's going on inside them. And when I deal and I get a chance to have the opportunity to be able to speak to people who are incarcerated, different stuff like that, the way that it makes my heart melt when I have, someone draw me a card or someone tell me, hey, you changed the life of my child looking at me as a father or a mother. That right there, like you said, your wall of love, it is so exponential. It's not even like a gushing moment. It's like, whoa, that felt better than Publishers Clearinghouse kind of saying, hey, you're like, okay, well, that's nice. We got the bills paid, but this right here is something that I can take with me even when I leave this earth. It's spiritual currency as well. Oh man, I love it. I absolutely, I need to go to the Caribbeans with you and be able to drive. I'll be like, come on, people, let's go shopping today. Let's go shopping.
Because I go every year, twice a year.
I would love to go out there. Yes. We will be Santa Claus to the Caribbean. Like, I would love to do that. I love seeing people smile. I love seeing them have a good time. I mean, just being able to sit there and even have that when I see some kids who are just scraping it. Even in the United States or wherever it might be, I see people just, man, like a slice of bread and some rice to them is like heaven. I'm like, man, I just want to take them out just for one day. Just let me get them some ice cream or something. Like, my heart just goes out to it, And it's not all about that. It's not even all about that, but the feeling that happens because of that. That's what happens, like that whole permeation of it. So you're leading the movement here with different kind of courses as far as women being able to join. I mean, that obviously dealing with equipment on that level, most people are going to be like, whoa. Like, this is a woman talking about doing a lot of stuff that a man, sometimes a lot of men can't fathom seeing themselves do. I mean, you manhandled that. Yes, kudos, Kathy. Kudos.
I like that. Thank you.
You slayed it. Yes, you slayed that. I mean, come on. That intimidates people in its own, especially a woman who knows what she wants. It already intimidates them, but you put the cherry on top and said, I'm going to get a machine that weighs over 1 million pounds that can hold over 400,000 tons. I mean, come on. How heavy do you get on? That's like the super giants of the earth right there.
Oh, it is.
Massively.
It really. And when I was writing my book, the publisher, they wanted me to put my picture on the cover. I'm like, no one's gonna buy the darn book. I said, I'm just another abuse case, millions and millions and millions. I said, you gotta put a picture on there that's gonna stop people in their tracks, because number one, most of the world have never seen these trucks because they're not on TV, they're not a reality show, they're just not available, right? Unless you're in mining, you don't know they exist. So,
exactly.
and it worked. I was in Barnes & Noble in Malibu, in Thousand Oaks, in September, and I made a 6-foot high, 3-foot wide poster of my book cover, and asked people, because my table was right at the entrance of Barnes & Noble beside my giant poster. I talked for 3.5 hours straight, because people are walking in, they see the poster, they're like, oh my God!
Yeah.
Then they look at me all fancy and beautifully dressed, and hair and nails, and looking hot, and they're like, you drive back? I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
One guy didn't even believe me. He says, no, you don't. I'm like, look at the picture. Yes, I do.
Absolutely, yeah. Tell them. Facts on that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a great conversation starter, let me tell you.
It is. I mean, the whole understanding of that. You got picked out from 100. You said 171 women, right? Or 170 somehow.
170 women. They picked 16, and out of the 16, they only hired 11 women, and I got hired. I mean, it changed my life. It really did.
Yeah, that's epic.
And like as it stands, on my crew, there's 180 people, and only 15 are women. It's mostly men. Right?
Wow. It's definitely helped it's definitely aided on, your journey. You obviously have had more of an insight into your, basically self-development throughout the course of having all this happen to get to where you are right now. So having the position you have right now, has it got kind of more went in depth as far as letting you see more of who you were back then that you couldn't see, that you can see right now?
Even that, I'll share just a short little story because it's really important.
Yeah.
The first month, you got to know, my entire life, and I'm not joking, my entire life was tons and tons of abuse, above and beyond. And so my self-esteem when I started this whole job was really, really, really shaky. Even though I had 2 years of intense treatment and therapy and, counseling and all that, my self-esteem, it's hard to unlearn all that, you're not good enough, you're a waste of skin, you pollute the air, who do you think you are, you're so, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, the first month I'm driving this truck, okay, and here I am, and I'm like, oh my God, making sure I'm okay. They asked me to bring this truck through this new area in the mine, and they had to shut down the road to let me through. Well, so there's security on either side, and there's a lineup of pickups on both sides of the road waiting for me to come through. Because number one, the sound of the motor of this whole truck, it's enough to stop you in your tracks, right?
Oh, I bet.
So I'm coming through, and at the most, I'm not even in the middle of the road yet, and I get the worst post-traumatic flashback ever.
Oh,
it kind of hit me from behind, and it took my breath away, and all I could hear and see and feel was violence and the most humiliating moments of my life, just absolutely horrific stuff that have happened to me. And here I am, that's all I could see. I couldn't even see the road. And I'm starting to hyperventilate, and, I can't breathe, and I'm like, and I'm supposed to drive the biggest truck in the world through this intersection, and I can't even see where I'm going, right?
Oh, wow.
So what I did was very critical to my whole future. What I did is that as I'm trying to breathe, I made a decision, an internal decision, and I said, excuse my language, I just said, oh, hell no. I said, I did not come this far to be, I said, my past does not define who I am today, my future, right?
Absolutely.
I rolled with that decision in mind. I took a deep breath. I unrolled my window, and I just took this imaginary blackness of, everything, all the negativity, and I threw it out the window. And this big gate, I threw everything out the window, and I'm like, this is me. And to all those who said that I was a waste of skin, a useless, blah, 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 who's driving this truck?
Exactly.
I am.
Exactly.
I'm driving this truck, not them. So because I got rid of all the negative, I had this gaping hole inside that I needed to replenish with something positive, right? I had to get my power back and feel it deep inside every cell. So you know what I did?
What did you do?
I'm going through the intersection now. There's tons of people that are out of their cars. They're having a cigarette. They're looking at this massive truck go by. I did the Queen wave. I did the Queen wave.
I love it. I love it.
This is Kathy. Yes. I'm bowing, and I'm like, oh my God.
I love it. That is epic. Yes.
But, it may sound ridiculous, but in that moment I took the negative out, and I got my power back to say, I'm the one driving this truck. And every single person that has put me down, that has squished me, that has beaten on me, that has spit on me, that has literally stomped on my chest, strangling me, doing whatever, who's driving the truck?
Exactly.
Me. And why am I driving that truck?
That is true.
It changed my whole perspective in everything that I've done ever since that moment. Right?
Yeah. And
I don't let the negativity, the opinions of others, the voices of people that can't do it, I don't let that bother me anymore.
No.
Because I am who I am because I made myself this way. I fought through the darkness. I cried my tears. I struggled. I looked for the courage. I looked for the strength, and it's my faith in God also, which is a whole other aspect of who I am that has got me to where I am today. Because if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't.
No, that's what I tell people too. When they ask me how old I am, I say I'm basically 5 years old, because even though I grew up with all these things and circumstances happening to me and getting into the world of, losing myself through being everything that I didn't need to be, from queen pin to the person that was buying it, it was still the point, even growing up through church and sitting in church school and going to church on the weekend. It's not even, for those out there who are listening, it's not to say church itself, but at the same time, it was me within the seat that I got a chance to come outside of it and understand that. And it's always a revelation about self-understanding, self-love. I mean, like you said, hearing those names, you worthless piece of this, you fat this. I mean, like literally every name in the book I can remember. And it would be like almost like a war syndrome where you wake up and it was like grenades going off in your mind. And some people don't understand that when I see them and their mouths are just drop open to be like, oh my gosh, this is unreal. No, this is not unreal. This is for the people who have the strength and the tenacity to be able to translate that and bring it into fruition to where it is now. So take all that, he said, balled it up and threw it out the window. And I think it would have been ridiculous if you did not do the Queen's Wave. I just want to put that out there. It was amazing. It was awesome, because I could picture you on there doing that, because you're letting them know, look, I stomped you and crushed you underneath my feet, and I'm sitting on the biggest thing, the biggest man-made instrument and mechanism on this planet that would crush your car without even blinking. Like, we crushed you, and you're just basically sitting at the top like Rocky saying, I made it. I mean, instead of doing the whole punching and the boxing, you did the Queen's Wave. I mean, that's what it was, and that right there was hashtag epic. Yes. I'm like, that's what it was. That's what it is at the same time, because at the end of the day, that's where you get to your peak at. I mean, some people don't seem to understand that, where they just, it's this. I'm like, no, at the end of the day, when you work inside the inner, you work outside the outer. Like, that's how the whole course of everything else goes. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Man. Like, just being able to have that whole energy. I'm just going through the whole, seeing the trucks on the side of the road. I'm seeing you go down there with this big, huge machine, and everyone's just kind of like, wow. Like, I can't believe what I'm looking at this very, very moment. The whole epicenter of that. Like, wow. I mean, at that point. So when you finally made it to where you had to go, how did you feel as far as internalizing, being able to tell people the stories when you go to different schools or go there? Like, does it kind of like get to a point to where you're like, man, maybe one more seed that I plant can keep growing in a different route? Or you look at the eyes of those kids and some of them in the crowd are going through exactly what you're talking about, but they're just so hurt or they're so scared they don't know how to come out and say it. Does it kind of bring you back to a moment?
I can see it in their eyes when I'm in front, and I gotta tell you, I have pictures on my wall of love where I have at least 100 kids in front of me, and I know that 99% of them are living the exact same thing. What I've done is I found these giant fists. They're Hulk fists. I found them on Halloween.
Oh, cool.
And they're big Hulk fists. I paid $10. Best $10 I've ever spent.
Yeah.
Anyway, I bring these fists to the kids in the school, and I call it my kapow, right? My Kathy power. And so what I do is I bring the kid, I have a volunteer come up front and put these gloves on, and we go through I call it flip the switch. I play a game where you take all the negative. I have negative words on a card, and they have the fist on, and I'll throw the negative word. They got to hit the card and replace it with a positive one, with the opposite.
Oh, right? Cool! I like that.
So it is tremendous to see these kids as they're doing it. The more they do it, the stronger they feel, because they have these big giant fists, and all of a sudden it gives them the faith inside. And you know what? Hey, I can do this. Yeah. I've got this. Right?
Powerful.
So yeah. It's beautiful. And I get emails regularly from kids that I've spoken with in Barbados. I go to Barbados twice a year specifically. I work with the Women of Purpose down there. And so I get emails regularly from there, from Grenada, from some of these kids that I've dealt with. And they're still looking for little, sometimes they're having a rough day. Well, I'll talk them through it. So Yeah, it's awesome. It's so awesome.
That is. Oh, you know what? Especially because I could only imagine too, when you're sitting there, you had a whole nother line to cross, because not only the whole journey of you unraveling into the beautiful butterfly you are even more so today, you got a chance to break through that cocoon itself and have your wings fly. But then you stepped into a whole nother life with being able to be a female in the industry of where you are, because we all know in some kind of way, no shade. I know sometimes our listeners go from 40 to 60% men, so this is not to put you guys down. We need you in this life, okay? Let's just put it that way. But was it difficult for you to kind of transition into, hey, there's this sexy woman coming on here, who she thinks she is with her queen's wave coming in here? You know, even that way, did they inviting to you, or were they more so like kind of, leery?
My company is one of the best companies in the world, because up there, like Exxon, they interview 8 people for one position, okay? Yeah. And they exclude any attitude, any resentments, or unwilling to learn, unwilling to change. Anyway, so by the time when you get up there, everybody, honestly, on my crew, they're like me. They're just nice people. They're just so awesome, and it restored my faith that, you know what, not all men are assholes, not all men are brutes and like this. And so the people I work with, they're family men. They take care. Like, it's been such a beautiful experience for me. It's helped me grow and gain trust again, and just, in everything that I do, and they would bend over backwards to help me in anything that I do. So no,
that's absolutely
it's not like you think it is, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely great. And a lot of people always say I try to be like a neutrality. No, my mom's an Aquarius. She's more that humanitarian balance. But I'm like, at the end of the day, that's why I feel too. Sometimes I get along working with males more than I do with females. But I mean, it's happened for the last several years where I get along with the balance, because I'm just like, I'm gonna love you for exactly who you are, not what you want me to see, but who you are. And it's good. I could tell already from that, just in case that was a question more so too for anyone that's itching their head to say, hey, I want to do what Kathy's doing. But at the same time, some people will try to find some way to be like, oh, well, maybe this or maybe that. So for whoever's out there listening, if you want to pursue something, even that epic, you know what I mean, you can, hey, by all means, believe that you can do it, first of all, and then set your mind up to do it. Like my mom always said, and she still says it, I love what she says, if you let the devil ride, eventually he'll want to drive. And I was like, yeah, I had to break that down. Yeah, and I was like, Mom, what do you mean? And I had told that down to one of the ladies that was been downtown for about 35 years, or maybe almost 40 years in her position. She goes, wait a minute, let me tell you now, Shell, I call her. She was like, I said, my mom said, hey, she was like, Lex, if you let the devil ride, eventually he's going to want to drive. And I said, Mom, break that down a little bit for me. She's like, okay, if you want to be dense, let me break it down for you. But I told her, I'm like, she told me, she goes, well, eventually, if you look at it, if you keep letting him, hey, tapping on the window, let me just come in here and mess with your thoughts and manipulate your feelings and your attitude. Let me come in here and just sit on the passenger. Eventually, he's going to say, look, I can take over the wheel. You just sit back and let me drive the whole, and you're crashing. You're crashing, burning, and before you know it, you're sitting in the back seat of that car watching no one drive the car straight off a cliff. And I was like, man, like if that didn't hit somewhere in my note, it hit me. And I'm like, whoa, that kind of got you to that point where you're like, man, if I look at all the times that I should not be here, and a lot of people look at the times where we can actually account for when we should not be here from the things we survived. We don't even look at the times of the things we did not know of that, were there. So the creator was like, look, I had your back before you thought you had your front. To where you're kind of like, man, if I start looking at myself as the perfect spiritual being of the imperfect flesh that I am, I will start being able to be everything that I need to be and start visualizing that. People internalize Christ as just some figment character of some kind of denomination, but if they look at it, Christ was completely in sync with his Father and our Father. So being in sync with our Father, there was no discrepancies. And honestly, I see that too. Like now that I've got a chance to cross over to the veil, I look at it and I'm like, man, how can they not see exactly what they are? They're so magnificent. They're so, so wonderful. And then I think I got a chance to see the other side of that, to where I'm looking at myself now and saying, man, I didn't think that way before I crossed over. I couldn't. But you going through what you went through, Kathy, and myself and different ones is better too, because we can be able to speak to those who say, well, you don't know what it's like to be abused. You don't know what it's like to go through this. You don't know what it's like. Well, yes, I do. And that helps more, because I told people, if you don't have a story to tell someone, no one wants to hear your story. No one has a story to tell unless you've been through something they can either resonate with, something they're either, like they say, you're either going through a storm, to a storm, or just came out of one. So at the same time, you know, like being able to talk to those children, someone's looking at you in that school saying, man, Miss Kathy Tuccaro came over here and spoke to us. How did she know what I was going through? Maybe that message was just for me. How did she know? How does she have a voice now? Or how did she go through all this? Or, you know, all this stuff where you said 42, I'm looking at it like, man, I'm starting my career all over again. And look what the abundance you have. Look at all the abundance you've given and that you still have to give. To me, you're just epically amazing. Even if you would have never wrote a book, even if you would have never came out to say a single word, you still would be a hero. I'm just saying. I'll call you a shero. I'll call you a shero.
Thank you.
You're a shero. You're a shero, okay? I tell people, like, that's a shero right there. Like, you are. And that is, I mean, to me, I would sit on there. You could do the Queen's wave, and I would go flex a little bit. Like, yeah, flexing on my exes. What? Flexing on my ex. Flexing on my exes. We should have a shirt called Flexing on my exes. People are like, what do you mean your exes? Exes to everything that did not suit me now that the father got rid of so I could move forward. Flexing on my exes. Yeah.
I love that.
We're going to do once this little corona thing is settled down by the grace of God and touches the world and lets everything settle down like the dust, we're going to do a little tour. We're going to have Flexing on My Exes, the Queen's Wave, Stomp 'em Out. We're going to have the the million-ton rollout.
I want to do a tour, a hard hat and heel series, you know?
That would be cool. Yeah. You know how many people would show up just to see that? How many people would show up just to see that?
Yeah. Just to break the stigma, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? I can look damn fine. I can look like a Hollywood superstar and still operate the biggest track in the world.
Exactly. You know what? That's exactly what it is. You know what the industry is so afraid of? There's people like us who would just, we already light the world on fire, but we would like blaze this bad boy. Like we would blaze it out there from everything. You know, you hear people now who are doing their stories who are, you know, been celebrities for 2-3 decades, and then they're finally coming out with their stories now. We're the ones who come out with the story first, and then we'll have the fun later. Like,
that's right.
So you don't have to worry about doing any kind of, inside edition on me. You can know about the inside right now. Like, oh, now on Inside Edition, we talked to Kathy Tuccaro and her life. Yeah, like, no. Yeah. This has been out here already. How about you talk about getting me a mimosa and rubbing my feet, and then I'll tell you the rest. Like, that's what you do. We were made for this. I tell you, we were made for this, Kathy. Don't forget that hashtag facts. So, I mean, we didn't tell the audience. Well, we're supposed to be called the Ellie Oprahs, and we'll tell you about that next time. The Ellie Oprah. So hashtag Ellen DeGeneres, you have found someone that is going to be making sure your seat can stay warm. And Oprah, you found someone who's going to make sure your microphone stays warm. Don't worry, we're coming. We just just relax.
Oh, we're coming.
Yeah, just scoot on over a little bit. It's time to move over a little bit. Oh man, I swear. Where have you been my whole life, Kathy? Oh. I'm like, where have you been? That feeling of all that's going on. So, okay, so Tony.
I want to say one thing for anybody looking for a career, and women out there. Just keep it in mind that, you know what, operating heavy equipment is men's best kept secret. They don't want women to find out.
Oh,
I'm telling you, it does. Most people, like I did, what do you mean, operating equipment? That's for me. Try it. The fear and intimidation, that's all it is. Once you get on that piece of equipment, number one, it's super fun, it's challenging, and it does wonders for your self-esteem. So don't automatically shut it off and say it's a man's job, because it's not. It's really, really not. And that's what I'm trying to break also, that stigma, that it's just try it. You'll see the difference and how you change as a person.
Yeah. I mean, look at what you've done. I mean, you got a chance to meet great people out there. And, you know, obviously it's going to be different fields that people go in. But at the end of the day, I tell people the only reason someone will put you down and make you feel like you're not worth that position in any kind of card in life, but especially a business position, is because they feel like you're going to outdo them. But once you let them know, hey, look, I'm good enough to be here. I'm great enough to be here. And at the same time, I'm not worried about you. I'm worried about what I have to do. Like, that's what I would be on. Like, you know, that complete mission to getting that, you know, forward. Because a lot of people get that intimidation where I'm like, man, I want to be able to, like, drive something like that one day. That would be awesome. Awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, rub it in a little bit more, Kathy. Rub it in just a little bit more, you know. I'm like, oh man, that's been epic. But you know, at the end of the day, is there anything that you would like to say extra? I mean, you're always welcome to come back here anytime you have any time in your schedule. I love it. And we're gonna have a future journey. I know this already, outside of this broadcast and on this broadcast.
I think so. I agree.
Yeah, I feel that energy.
Just in closing, just for anybody that's really hurting out there, that's kind of struggling, and I know with this quarantine thing, and people are have to self-isolate. I was thinking about all the abusive situations that are out there, and they're forced to be with their abusers in the house. It's not easy, but just, you know what, find the courage, find the strength, and get out and go find someone, there's so many resources available online. And there's also myself, I always put myself available. On my website, there's a contact part, so CathyTuccaro.com. Go under the contact, you send me a message, and I will definitely respond to that. Just have a voice, say something, do something to help yourself, because at the end of the day, it's you and God, and you can't rely. You have to find the courage to get out of there and do something for yourself, because there is a greater purpose for each and every one of us.
Absolutely.
You just have to believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? To piggyback off of that with my Ellie and Oprah, you know, I'm just going to say that what Kathy was saying tremendously, I will just say it is better to do it now than to sit there and wait for any other time. Because if you start really just focusing on the person you may be stuck with, and I thought about this, and I'm glad Kathy brought it up, people who escape that life when they go to work, people who escape that life when they get a chance to leave, and now you're stuck within the midst of it. Behold, I send you out sheep amongst the wolves, and that's exactly what it is when you come in contact. But if you just focus all your center into the gravity that holds you there, which is the creator of all things, and you start looking at this person in your mind first and start telling yourself, who are they to think they can make me feel small like they really feel inside? Because honestly, it's reflective imagery. The whole person that put me down in my adult abuse years did the same thing. Everything that he said, as I broke it down later on, piece by piece, and I was afraid to talk at the time, but everything he said was exactly how he felt about himself. And then later on, I got a chance to hear the whole story of his abuse from his mother and everything. Is always a story behind a story, but it doesn't mean that the way they treat you should also be your story. As far as the negative, continuing the negative story, it's you know, you can't overcome the story, but you know what I mean. So I just want to put that out there. So yeah, but you know, I was getting there a little bit, just kind of got a little mixed up on that little quarantine feel. So but I'm just telling you, Kathy, we're happy. Angela and I, Tony and I, and the RDC family, is all those who are new from all the platforms that you guys tune into. We just want to say thank you for listening, and also thank you to Kathy Tuccaro for being on here. And you can also check out more. She's going to have her dedicated page and her blogspot at realdoubledosechannel.blogspot.com once Anthony puts his on the schedule. And we're going to also have the links available, but if you want to jot it down now, wherever you're downloading or live listening, that's www.kathytuccaro.com. That's KATHYTUCC as in carrot, ARO.com. So don't forget to check that out. She's an amazing person. And when you see those photos, don't even, forget to email and say #Lex told you so. But I'm just like, don't forget that. we're gonna have we'll have a little get together with some RDDC family and tribes and different ones. We'll have a little event where we just get together and just have some cool marshmallows and steaks on the grill and some mimosas and talk about life facts, the real life chapters of life. That's what we'll do. So we'll get that all together, Kathy. It's a date, okay? It's a date for our future coming up. Yeah. So I mean, thank you, Kathy, for being here with us again. And I mean, you're loved beyond loved, and you're amazing and a shero, extraordinary shero. we just want to tell you that, So.
All right, thank you for having me, and we will talk soon.
Yes, we will. So remember, RDC family, to be the change, feel the passion, embrace the power of that wonderful spirit, because it's always within you and calling you. We love you. You're amazing, and we'll be back with you very, very, very soon.